Hey, Coach. I was wondering, a lot of times after you watch the video, I guess, of the scrimmage, you see a lot of different things. Some things you thought were good were bad, and vice versa. What did you see out of watching the tape that maybe you didn't see when you watched it before live?
Well, the number one thing is which I didn't think we would be, Trey, but we're not. We're not in very good shape yet. We're not in game shape. We're in good shape. We're not in game shape, and so we have to do a few things differently at practice so we can get there. But that was probably the number one thing. I thought our defense fatigued faster than our offense, and therefore they got outplayed on Saturday. They had not been that way necessarily in the practices. So I anticipate that being amped up quite a little bit Friday for our next scrimmage, but we are going to scrimmage. We need to. We certainly can't go into a ball game playing the way we did with the team, but with the entire team. But I thought we threw and caught the ball well, and after watching the tape, we did, and we protected very, very well on the offensive line. You go back to today's practice, and the defense has gotten after us up front on the O-line 2 days in a row. So we've got to bring that intensity in practice on the D-line, linebackers, to a game-type situation, which a scrimmage is. And I think we will. I feel very confident we will. We just didn't on Friday.
Nate.
Sam, as far as linebackers, because you weren't real happy after the scrimmage, anything from the scrimmage or even today's practice that's any different?
Well, I think that's a position, one of the positions that we have to become a more physical group. We have to go make plays. That's what linebackers are supposed to do. We can't run into an offensive lineman and not shed him and make a play. And that's something that we did not do Friday, and we're certainly working on it. And you can't just say, okay, well, we're going to go out there and do the same thing and get better. I mean, you have to make specific drills for those guys to get better. I mean, you can't bench everybody and be mad at everybody. You just have to work to get better, and those are called drills and individual and things. And we had some live drills today with the tight ends and the linebackers. So we have to become a more physical team, and they do too. And that group there is still, like everybody on the team, a work in progress, but they're willing and they're physical, and we just got to get them to shed blocks and make tackles.
Thank you.
Gotti.
Hey, Sam, I was curious if you had an update on Trey Knox and just how he's done the first 2+ weeks. It seems like he's maybe flying under the radar a little.
He's doing well. He's making some plays, obviously. We are making a big emphasis on our wideouts in their blocking. We've gotten better there. He's always been a physical guy, but we continue to have to work on getting off man press and getting open. Part of the sacks and things that we've had are we got to get people open, and he's done a good job of that. He's a good one-on-one ball catcher, and he's done a nice job. He practiced extremely hard, and his skills are getting better each day.
Tom.
Hey, Sam, I'm wondering what the points of emphasis have been for you in practice this week, and aside from the conditioning part, what you expect to be much better in Friday's scrimmage.
Well, I think the first thing is the strain of the play. A lot of times I think we feel like when we hit a guy, that's when the play's over. To be honest with you, when you hit a guy, that's when the play starts. And so the whole week's emphasis has been on finishing blocks, finishing tackles, finishing runs, finishing one-on-one, things of that nature, and just basically playing through the whistle. And we've made a big emphasis on that, and that we certainly expect that to be a change this Friday.
Matt Jones.
Yeah, Sam, you mentioned not being in game shape. Can you kind of take us through what the difference between game shape and just the workouts that you guys have done in the off season, just being in general shape? And then how much do you think the spring has affected where you are in that regard right now, not being able to practice?
Well, to be honest with you, the spring not being able to practice shouldn't really affect us that much as far as in shape goes. Now, it would certainly affect you in understanding the game and understanding offense, defense, expectations. You know, the kids don't really know your football expectations until you get out there. You know, they know expectations of going to class and weights and running and sprinting, but they really don't know the expectations of what you want out of each and every drill and each and every period when you go to practice, and they are high. And so I think understanding that standard has helped them. The other thing about game shape and practice shape or things of that nature, it's a lot of times you're in shape, but your mind won't let you go because you're thinking of something that just happened, mostly bad. If a big play happened on you, your mind affects your whole entire body. We have to be, like I told you a long time ago, we have to be a mentally tough team. And if we can continue to work on the mental toughness, I think that will be in better shape. I believe that. I believe we practice hard. I believe we have plenty of conditioning, but I believe that our mind needs to be stronger so we can work through those situations. I don't necessarily think we're in bad shape. I think that we just have to be a stronger football team mentally.
Jason?
Hey, Coach, just the offensive line progression and where you guys are right now. How good do you feel about the progression you guys are making with the offensive line and the depth there?
I think it's coming along really fine. I do. You know, if you grade them as a whole in the scrimmage on Friday, they were out, you know, they played really well, protected well, ran the ball well, had some nice holes in there, played hard, had fun. And then the last 2 days, I'd say we've run the ball pretty well, but we have not protected the quarterback, and that's concerning to me. And we've got to get better, and it's concerning Coach Davis, and it's concerning the O-line. But I think we're progressing pretty well. I think we have plenty of tackles on the team that can play in this league. We're still a little bit not concerned, but we're still haven't quite found all our inside pieces yet, and we're still looking at several different guys at the guard spots and certainly the second and third center.
Bob?
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, the defensive end sounds like Coates and Gerald have had really good camps. Is that continuing? How do you feel about the guys behind them? I'm assuming guys like Soley, Williams, Gregory. If there's some other guys in the mix,
you just said it. I mean, those are the guys that right now are working in and out of there. Gregory has gotten some snaps with the ones. He's earned it. He plays extremely hard. Solely, certainly, you know, as he continues to grow and develop his game, he's making more and more plays. But I think you probably hit the five guys there at that end spot that have gotten the most reps and the most production.
Do you feel good? You talk about conditioning. Obviously, in the heat, you got to play a lot of D-line. Do you feel you'll have a good rotation there?
I think we will. You know, obviously, a guy's a one for a reason, and you want him to stay out there as long as he is making plays and as long as he's capable of being better than the fresh guy coming in as a two. But so we're continuing to work there because obviously you want to keep your ones on the field. But I feel very strong about our rotation, and I think we'll be fine.
Hutch?
Yeah, Sam, you mentioned still kind of figuring things out on the interior of your line. We noticed the other day Ty Clary getting a lot more work at guard than we've seen. Is that a move that has been made more permanent, or are you still just trying him at multiple spots?
No, I don't think so. I think Clary brings a lot of experience to the O-line, and we are looking at him as a possibility as a guard, along with Luke Jones as a guard, as well as a center, and Clinton as a guard as well as a center. The center quarterback handled the ball every single snap, and certainly we have to be consistent there. But we have looked at several different guys at that spot, at those 3 spots actually, and we're just trying to find the right combination. We feel like we're pretty close. The left guard position is probably the most open position that we have on the offensive line.
Seth?
Yeah, Sam, I was just curious, how much Georgia game prep have you started filtering into practice?
None, 0. And we got to get better ourselves before we worry about Georgia. We got plenty of time. I think we've got 3.5 weeks. None. We haven't talked about them. We played their fight song every stretch, but other than that, we haven't talked about Georgia. It's way too early for that.
Ty?
Yeah, Coach, you brought up mental toughness again. On Friday, you talked about how you're trying to get the team and reinforce them to sprint off the field rather than walk off the field. What are some other points of emphasis where you're really stressing this team to be mentally tough?
I think it's the one thing we've done is we've incorporated a lot more one-on-one tight end linebackers, O-line linebackers, a lot of one-on-one competition. I think you can find out a lot about a man if he's in a one-on-one situation and there's nobody to blame. It's not the right guard, the left guard, the corner, the safety. We've tried to put them in a lot more one-on-one situations to see how they react. And if they get beat, I want it to bother them. And if they win, I want them to be happy about it. So we've done quite a bit more of physical one-on-one winner-loser type situations so we can see who can handle getting beat and come back, and will they come back the next time and win the rep or at least compete for the rep. And so a lot of been a physical 2 days, to be honest with you, and it's been a lot of one-on-one and man-on-man. Football is just a bunch about who wants to whip somebody else's tail, and that's what we're trying to get done in individual.
John Neighbors.
Hey, Coach. Out of curiosity, I know that it's been something that Felipe Franks talked about yesterday, and just how his confidence is an all-time high. And I was just curious, as far as you taking over a team that struggled in the previous years, has there been any issues with dealing with team confidence? And if so, how is that something you handle? Do you do it individually, collectively? How is the confidence of the team looking right now?
I think it's a good question. I think it's a little bit about all what you just said. But the only way I know you can build confidence is you can put a guy in the right position, A, for him to have success. And then B, he has to see it. And I mean, you can't just tell a guy, hey man, you're doing great, and he's not, because he won't even believe it. And so what we're trying to find is some good reps that we say, hey, look, you did it once, you can do it 4, 5, 6, 8 times, So we're trying to have some success with each kid, clip that tape out, show them what they are capable of doing, and try to build confidence that way. Otherwise, you can't really talk about it because it just doesn't work that way. I mean, I think you have to see it.
All right, we'll start our second round here. If you've got questions, have them hit me up in the chat. Let me know. Trey?
Coach, you gotta be real versatile to play that nickel spot, right? I mean, like, how difficult is that to find a guy there, and how's Greg Brooks been doing? Who else is challenging there?
Yeah, Greg's done a nice job. McClellan's done a nice job out there. We've moved Slush in there done some of that. Joe Fouché has come down and played that spot a little bit. It's just it's a hybrid. It's not really a linebacker. It's not really a safety. It's just a guy. Mason, I mean, it's just a guy that is a big physical guy that has to be a linebacker in the run and a corner or a safety in the passing game. So those guys are very, very valuable to us, and we feel pretty confident in where we're headed with that position.
Tom?
So the pressure on the quarterback you mentioned, that means somebody defensively is winning some reps.
Absolutely.
Who all has been doing that? And also wanted to ask you about the safety spot, and it kind of blends into what you just said with nickel, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just one guy on the D-line. Dorian Gerald does a nice job of rushing the passer, and of course Coach does, and Marshall, and it's been kind of a little bit of committee, to be honest with you, but somebody's getting there, or it might be a linebacker key blitzing in or something of that nature. But a lot of times, to be honest with you, secondary's covering them. There's no place to go with the ball, and it's just happening. But the safety spot, he's kind of almost the same type of guy as I talked to you about. Catalan obviously is doing a really good job back there, but we're kind of rotating a little bit in field boundary safeties, nickels, things of that nature. We're just trying to make sure that we find the right guys, and you have to multiple teach in that area because of the fact of injuries and honestly because of COVID.
Will Catalan be cleared for scrimmage on Friday, or where does he stand?
Oh yeah, he practiced full go today.
Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, you've said before that this scrimmage on Friday is probably going to be the last scrimmage of camp. I mean, is 2 scrimmages usually kind of what you do, or is it just because this is weird, or what's that like?
No, I think all of us, not all of us, I'll just speak for myself. I think you're always nervous about scrimmaging, simply because it's tackle on the ground, a lot of bodies flying around, and I think you'd be a little nervous of scrimmaging even if you had unbelievable amount of depth. And so certainly you can limit carries of guys, and probably most coaches do, and stay off the quarterback and those type things. But the bottom line is Barry and that staff on defense thinks they can teach tackling and individual. We do a lot of one-on-one tackling drills and things, offense versus defense. It's just different when you have all those people out there with bodies flying around. So I know we're going to scrimmage Friday, and then after that, we'll still be 3 weeks out. In a normal non-COVID world, you would scrimmage 2 weeks out. And so we still have that opportunity to do that, and it may be a partial scrimmage. It may be something where part of it's live, part of it's stud, but Friday will not be that. It'll be a full go. Let's see what we have on our football team.
Bob.
See, I think you said last Friday you'd be able to evaluate the tight ends better after you looked at the scrimmage film. What's your take on those guys now?
I think they know. I think they have to, they have to become better blockers. I think that we've made a big emphasis. Again, you can't just sit here and talk about, well, guys got to get better. You got to give him opportunities to get better, and you have to give him opportunities in individual to get better. And that's what we've done. We've made a big emphasis on them and the linebackers. Of course, like I say, we put them together today. And the bottom line is just the strain of the finish. It's the want to of wanting to whip another man's tail. And we're getting closer with that tight end group.
Obviously Hudson got a lot of hype out of high school, and his brother's a great tight end. Is anybody standing out there in that group?
Not really. They're all doing a good job. They're all getting in there and becoming more physical. But, obviously you have a depth chart, whether it be 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. But I think we're still unsettled to who might be that guy or those 2 of the 3 or 4 guys at this point, which is fine. I mean, we've only had 1 scrimmage, and we just completed practice 9 of 25. But they're heading the right direction. I'm pleased. I don't want to sound like I'm not pleased with the tight ends, because I am. We just have to get better at that position, just like all of them.
Seth?
Yeah, Sam, what have you seen from Josh Oglesby this fall?
Well, he got dinged up in the scrimmage, so I don't know how long he's going to be out. But before his injury, he was a great addition and is a great addition to the team, and very tough, obviously very fast, but he's a physical guy and just a wonderful kid. And we'll have to wait and see how long that this injury is going to keep him out.
All right, we got time for one or two more. If you want to let me know in the chat. Nate?
As far as receivers, anybody besides your kind of top three that are stepping up?
Yeah, Davion Warren's had, he's done a nice job. He got speed, TJ Hammond has, he's fast, so he's gotten behind him a few times, and Colton Gauthier is he's done a nice job. He can catch the football, he can get open. So those guys, just right off the top of my head, besides, obviously about Trey and the other guys. So.
All right, last one, Tom.
Okay, I wonder what you thought about going indoors today. I mean, maybe it was the first time you've been in there, what that felt like. And then will Friday be for the stadium?
Yeah, we're going to go in the stadium on Friday. And today, to be honest with you, we're just changing up the atmosphere of practice. I mean, it was a nice day outside. We were a little earlier this morning. We were a little bit worried about the grass being slick and all those things. But by the time practice started, we could have went outside. But we just wanted to give them a different change of pace. And it was real cool in the indoor. And we're going 3 days in a row here. So it didn't have anything to do with the tempo. I mean, we were flying around, but it was just a change of pace for the guys.
All right, last one. Matt Jones.
Yeah, Sam, I've heard you say in the past that you like to have your first offensive line set about 2.5 weeks before the first game. With that said, how much does this next scrimmage go toward you moving forward with your starting five?
That's an old football guy asking that question. Big. I mean, it's big. This is it's not all or nothing, but I think you'll solidify 4 of them, and then there'll be another position there where you go, you know what, this is a guy we're gonna put with the ones, and we're gonna live with it, unless somebody else just looks really good in the next week after this scrimmage. So it's a big deal. You can tell a lot about your team whenever everything's live, and so it's a good question, and the answer is yes. Scrimmage is a big deal for everybody, probably especially the offensive line.
All right, that's going to wrap us up. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.